Peace, family. Vicki Dillard here, and thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to give us a big thumbs up and share the broadcast. Thank you so very much. Family, this has been really interesting. Many of you by now may or may not know that Iran went on a three-nation African tour recently, right? And just to give you a general gist of why it was done, the Iranian president was said to have visited Africa to increase trade and economic ties with stops in Kenya, Uganda, and in Zimbabwe, right? So I am just so excited about this reality. There's so much to offer on the continent. So it only makes sense that they would be there as well, right? Uh, Al Jazeera talks about how it's a different approach for a country that for years has focused mostly on the Middle East and parts of Asia, right? Well, family, not everybody is too happy. In one of the pieces that I read, and actually one of the headlines is from one of the Tehran papers, was talking about literally how Iran's achievements uh, irritate, the Westerners. So they're really, 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 really big mad. And there are several pieces that I was reading through about how Western countries, Western nations, including the United States, they're pretty ticked off with their nosy snooping self trying to conclude why uh, Iran's president took a trip to three African nations. Now, family, this has been just absolutely so interesting to watch and to read about, because one of the things that I was looking at was the fact that the president stood with them and made the case that they stand with Africa concerning their LGBT laws. Now, you all know that America and Western countries has really, really, really been attacking Uganda, Ghana. I think Kenya now has just recently passed some laws concerning that, strengthening their LGBT laws and stuff like that there, where they were just letting the United States know, look, you all do what you want to do in your country. We don't come there telling you what to do, but you're not going to come pushing an agenda here and pushing a social hegemony onto our country. We mind our business, so you mind yours. I did that piece on President uh, Museveni some time back, and I have been discussing for months now, at least months now, uh, our beautiful MP Sam George, as well as his stance, and of course many others. Well, it has been interesting to see that Iran's President Rossi, in fact, I want to read a little excerpt of this article. Let me pull it up here. President Rossi, this piece says that when it comes to great power and competition in Africa, one competitor is missing, Iran. And this particular piece is talking about how President Joe Biden invited leaders of the African country to a summit in Washington. There they discussed cooperation with the United States regarding solutions for economic, civil, and security problems accompanying the continent. It talks about several other things that really nothing was really done at this summit. The Biden administration only did this because they had been tripping about China's presence there as well as other nations, and they've been hearing murmurings of this. Well, their concern, as this piece says, one area both administrations completely ignore, I'm skipping here, is Iran's growing influence on the continent and the need to formulate a policy that will work to limit Tehran's freedom of action in Africa. Family, so not only Iran's alliance with the continent of Africa tripping everybody out because they're standing with Africa concerning their social norms, right? But also, of course, some of the Western nations are concerned about the economic connections. And based on a lecture I was listening to some professors, one of the things that one of them also brought up the fact that there are some resources in Africa that might be of assistance to some of the programs, and generally speaking, even maybe some of the nuclear programs. And of course, by the way, the United States under Trump totally ditched the agreement that they had with them concerning their nuclear program. And even though our reports showed for the most part they were abiding by everything, but it was the United States that dished that. So they're concerned for a number of reasons. The United States and other Western countries would not have these types of things to worry about if they did a little something called fair deal. She's engaging the continent in the first place because they see other countries sees her value. So I'm just sitting here just giggling on the inside about how nosy some of the Western countries are trying to sniff out what's happening. And let me tell you something. When there's a story that's planted in the newspaper, or there's something that's said, and when you actually read it, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to the headline. It's because they're trying to figure out what's really going on. Talk black to me. They're trying to figure out what's going on with her nosy self. If you did what was right, you wouldn't have to worry about. So this is my call and my appeal to the United States and other Western countries. Do what's right by the original people, and you wouldn't have a lot of these different things to worry about. Are y'all hearing me today? My name is Vicki Dillard. Thank you so much for tuning in. I want you to know that your word is powerful. And if you want to shape your life and have unfair advantages in every area of your life, be sure to check out my school at clubvicky.com. The link is below. And of course, share the broadcast here from African Diaspora News. Thank you.